guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. We are on to another one of our L Word retro reviews, and as I said last time, we only have a few episodes left. After this one, there's only one episode left of season 5, and then we have our shortest season, season 6, with only 8 episodes. Of course, after that, I will do the first 5 episodes of Generation Q, which I haven't reviewed before. And then, I'm hoping season 2 is at least on the horizon by then. We can go back to the start. I'm not quite sure, but hopefully we'll be getting some more season 2, and then season 2 trailers, and then actual episodes to review. So I'm really looking forward to that. And of course, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure that you're subscribed. The YouTube algorithm sometimes is not too kind to LGBTQ plus creators, videos, anything like that. So it's best to subscribe so you're not missing out on any content, especially with a lot of season 2 news coming up. And also, if at any point you enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like and let me know your favorite part of the episode in the comment section down below. And if you want to support the channel, there's a link to my merch store, which is all L Word merchandise, in the description box down below, so you can support the channel that way, or coming to my lives on Friday and sometimes Saturday and doing a super chat over there. And of course, don't forget to follow me on social media to keep up with everything L Word related in between my videos. So without any further ado, let's get on to the penultimate episode of season 5, episode 11, Lunar Cycle. So Jenny, everything pretty much comes to a head in this episode for Jenny and blows up big time with the whole season-long plot that Adele has had. And it just goes really badly for Jenny. She ends up getting her tape with Nikki exposed to Tina, Nikki's manager, Nikki's agent, that Aaron douchebag guy from the studio. And it just, Jenny has this very public firing from the movie. And one thing I did notice on this rewatch that I haven't noticed before is that when Adele shows them the video and the agent guy gets up and tries to, get rid of the DVD, and Adele's like, oh, I have more copies. And he, you would think immediately he would snap the DVD, but by the end he's still holding it. And I'm like, does he just take it away? Because he looked like the only one who was, keen on what he was seeing. So I hope that Jenny got that DVD back. But Adele is also saying, when she's listing all these people, she's like Oprah and Ellen. And I'm like, does Oprah do sex tapes? I didn't know about this. So I thought that was a little bit strange, but all the other people were pretty on point, like all the tabloids and stuff like that. And Perez Hilton, that was very on point for him in the, mid 2000s. Kit in this episode, I'm just like, what were they thinking with the storyline? Kit is smart. Kit is not an idiot. And they have her, she has the gun and everything, and it's in one of, it's in a safe with a proper dial gun box, and it is inside the restaurant safe. And then Kit's walking around with it in her coat pocket and goes to She-Bar to just shoot Denbo? It makes no sense. And then she goes and picks Angie up, and the gun is in, I'm assuming, still her coat pocket, and Angie gets it out, and it's like, I think that Kit would have put the gun away, especially when she has her niece around you. I don't know about you, I have 3 nephews, and I'd never have a gun anyway, but if I did, I certainly, if it was in my pocket, I'd be like, oh, I need to put this gun away from this small child. And I feel like Kit would do that. And then even worse, when she finds the child with the gun, she throws it in the dumpster. And I'm like, anyone could find it really, really annoys me every time I see it, because Kit would never do this. So that's pretty much Kit's storyline for the episode. Shane doesn't have too much going on in this episode. I mean, I always say Shane is one of those people who is an amazing friend, and she proves that again in this episode when, you know, Jenny's saying who's gonna come with me, and Shane's like, I will, like, straight away. And they have this cute scene where they're at the house and they're smoking and stuff, and I'm like, these are grown adult, like, maybe we did this in high school with, like, the, you know, you make it out of a water bottle or an apple or anything. But I know it wasn't, you know, legal at this time, but there definitely was stores where you could buy those things. And Shane's in, like, I have that Free City hoodie that Shane has on there. And Jenny and Shane, like, I think this is the beginning of the whole Shenny situation that we get into in season 6. But yeah, that was a cute scene. And I also loved when the actresses are talking to Tina in her office, like, after this, when they're saying, you know, we didn't sign on to an Adele Channing movie, and immediately one of the actresses like, did Shane quit? Like, that's like her number one concern about everything that's going on. Yeah, Max in this episode, whoa, we do not get, I don't think we have any transphobic comments. And also there's like a cute little moment with Max and Kit where they're both like, so glad I don't have to deal with that anymore, which I thought was really, like, cute. And then also when Jenny and Shane are, like, smoking and hanging out the house, Max comes home and they're finally like, Max, the Oracle. And Max finally is told, guess what, Max, you were right. So great that finally, I think the apology could have been a little bit bigger, but I'm glad that we didn't get any more, you know, speaking to Max like crap in this episode. And also, you were not getting off that lightly. You know what I'm gonna say. We've been saying it every episode of season 5. If you have not watched Disclosure on Netflix, please do, because they talk about the Max storyline and the L Word in general way better than I ever could. And also Leo Sheng, who plays Micah in Generation Q, and Jamie Clayton, who plays Tess in Gen Q, are in it as well, as long as like a host of other awesome people. And I've learned so much when I watched it, and I've had a lot of people, especially more so than ever in the last 2 weeks, telling me that they've watched it and they really enjoyed it. So honestly, you're missing out. Disclosure on Netflix, it's great. Tasha and Alice in this episode, apart from the first scene where everybody is very grumpy and PMSing at the planet, Alice and Tasha are kind of off on their own in this episode. And I mean, I think that Alice thrives being around the rest of the cast, and that's why this episode is a weird one for me, because obviously, like, the ending is great and cute and everything, but it feels like something's missing. And then there is also amazing work done by Jennifer Beals and Marlee Matlin, but it's a weird episode. There's like something missing, I feel. Alice is still pitching to go on The View, The Look. And Alice also meets Clea Mason in this episode. She's like the designer, and she invites Alice to her outdoor fashion show. And then Tasha and Alice are also looking at houses and stuff, so they're moving into that really serious territory. And I'm just wondering how much that house was, because Tasha said it was 8 times more than her apartment in Long Beach. And I mean, you know, her apartment in Long Beach has to be pretty deep, you know, it can't be like $100 or something. So that house must be like thousands and thousands a month. So they're doing pretty well, it seems. Well, Alice is definitely doing pretty well. So our main chunk of this episode is taken up by Bette and Jodi kind of going through that super messy, drawn out, typical lesbian breakup. And I mean, their performances in this, especially the scenes at Bette's house, are brilliant. Like, they're both obviously great actresses, and they've known each other for a really long time and are friends, so they just did an awesome job with that. It was really, I mean, there was parts of it where I was like, oh, I totally recognize this, like the messy, drawn out thing that most lesbians go through when they're breaking up. But then there was also some really interesting choices. The outfits, like, they were so matchy, and I'm not sure whether that was like trying to highlight some similarities or trying to show like Jodi trying to conform to things for Bette, or whether it was just like a random, like, oh, we just happened to dress them similar. I don't know what was going on there, but it was, yeah, especially when they're walking to go to the car together, I was like, this can't be a coincidence. There has to be some deeper meaning behind this. And there was, you know, at the house when they had the, like, there is that thing with the L word now, and so many shows and movies that it's like, ooh, it feels like awkward now because of the consent thing, which is, I mean, it's very problematic in a lot of films and television, where if they're very male written and stuff, like the consent thing. But also, I definitely didn't think like as much about this scene when I first saw it as I do now. Like, my thing was more, ooh, Bette's like doing this and she's supposed to be breaking up with her, and that is really confusing and cruel to Jodi and cruel to Tina, so what are you doing? But now I'm more like, this feels like pressure, and there was no like clear consent, and it makes you feel uncomfortable, basically. But the whole thing at the house, it was like very emotionally charged, very Bette as well. Just some of the things she says. Jodi is clearly very like self-actualized and evolved, and I wouldn't be surprised if she had a lot of therapy and worked on herself a lot, because she's very sure about herself and the way she is in the world. But Bette, I mean, I've made no secret of the fact that my favorite character is Bette. Like, I really like Bette and Tina, and I relate to Bette a lot. But I also, when I look at Bette, sometimes I see flaws that I used to do when I was younger, and I have worked incredibly hard to get to the point I am in my life now. And I've been very open about things on the channel, about even like how that played into my weight and how that played into this and that and past relationships. And I do recognize a lot of things in Bette that I used to make those same mistakes, but Bette is a lot older than me, and even now she's doing the same things, and she's, you know, nearly double my age. And I'm like, Bette, you could be, I don't want to say you could be so much better, but if you put 10% of the amount of work into yourself that you do into your work, your career, into your relationship with Tina, into just basically anything in your life. I mean, nobody is perfect, of course. And I think it helps us relate even more to the characters on the show. Like, we're so starved for content, especially in the lesbian community, the gay community, the queer community, whatever, LGBTQ plus community. But I have never spoken to a lesbian who watched the show and doesn't have an answer for who do you relate to, or who do you have a crush on. Like, normally those are two very different answers. And a lot of people will preface, you know, they'll say, oh, I have a crush on Jennifer Beals, but I find Bette problematic. And I mean, with the whole recognizing those traits in others that you don't like about yourself or that you work on with yourself, I wish Bette would basically go to therapy because she's super smart, like she's super dedicated. She obviously, especially with Tina, you know, like that is what I would want. I'd want them to be together. And I think if Bette at this point where Tina had really worked on herself, like I don't know whether Tina went to therapy, they're never clear about that, but season 1 Tina and season 5 Tina is very, very different, and Tina's a lot more confident, she's a lot more secure in herself and her place in the world. So I think maybe, you know, we only got basically like a few episodes in season 5 and then the 8 episodes of season 6 with them together, and they were very happy, they were in that place. Generation Q has shown us that something happens, like they maybe fell back into old ways. With the very limited information we have, it's hard, of course, to make calls and to try and speculate what happened, and we only really have that tiny bit of information from episode 6 of Generation Q when they're talking in the kitchen, because episode 7 way more focused on like Tina saying she was engaged and the dinner and everything, but episode 6 they talked about their relationship, and Tina again said the same things that was the problem in the very beginning. So I think that if Bette during this time, maybe if she'd taken a few months between Jodi and Tina, or even when her and Tina got back together right at this point in the end of episode 11, and she did go to therapy and maybe work on herself a little to be a better partner for Tina, because she already excels in everything else, like her career, she's a really good mom, all that stuff. And I think maybe it would have ended up different. I'm kind of speaking like they're real people, like I realize this is a television show that's scripted, but also the scene where Jodi and Bette at the very end when they're in the office, and that is the point that Bette should have started with. You know, she's again that confusing word relationship, and we've talked about this on the channel recently with the way they spoke about this male art character that's coming on. Like, relationship can mean a lot of things. It doesn't mean romantic relationship, and Bette definitely should have been clear and said friendship, because Jodi doesn't want to be her friend, like, clearly. And she did mess Jodi around a bit. What she said at the very end, she should have said straight away and said, listen, like, I've been wanting to make this work with you so badly. I've been searching for this thing that I can't define, but it's a absolute necessary piece for my happiness, and I can't find it with you because I have it with someone else, and that person is Tina. So I think that Bette, you know, and Tina, maybe straight away it was like, we're so happy to get back together, and they slid back into this familiar relationship, and obviously they were very happy in season 6, but did things just relax too much? And, you know, personally, I have said I do find it hard to believe that they did slip back, because, you know, it's not like we only got episode 11 and 12 and they were in that, like, you know, when you get in a new or like back into a relationship and it's like all rainbows and happiness and kittens. Like, season 6 took place over a significant period of time. Again, time, seasons and years don't exist in the L word, but it was definitely over a significant time. And I think Bette would have been more aware and realistic of falling back into the way things were, and I would have thought she would have worked on things. So I again do find it very difficult with Generation Q to accept that what Tina's saying in episode 6 in the kitchen is still the same when we saw them work through these things and move on. But I'm hoping, you know, again, Generation Q season 1 was only 8 episodes. We only had Laurel for 2, and we had a absolute shitload of new characters to get to meet, to establish a bit. And I just think that, you know, given more time, given more episodes, maybe we will get more of what happened and why things ended the way they did. But of course, all that being said, I mean, the end scene where they go home together, just so cute. And they lived happily ever after. The end. But unfortunately, it was not. And that's pretty much it for this episode, guys. I mean, as I said, I do find this episode really weird. I wouldn't say it's definitely not one of my favorite episodes from season 5. And I find, you know, with a penultimate episode, you're really supposed to be building things up, like ready for the season finale, especially with a show like this, that the break between seasons is so long, like it's nearly a year, or with Generation Q season 2 even longer. And I just really wish that season 5 was so good, and I feel like it really dropped the ball in episode 11 and 12. But of course, I will be back next week with the season 5 finale, episode 12, so definitely stay tuned for that. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe, because as soon as I get any information about Generation Q season 2, I'm doing videos. I released one yesterday, so make sure you check that out if you haven't already. It's kind of everything we know about season 2 rounded up into one video. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know by giving the video a like, and let me know your favorite part in the comment section down below. I think I know what's going to be everyone's favorite part. And if you would like to support the channel, please consider going to my merch store, which is linked in the description box down below. And you can also support the channel by coming to my lives on Friday and supporting the channel with a super chat there. Also, if you like the lives but it's not a very convenient time on Friday, I will be doing a later live on a few Saturdays a month. So the US viewers, it'll be more convenient for them, because I'll be doing it like 9-10 UK time, which will be like 4-5 o'clock Eastern time, and then about like 2-3 p.m. Pacific time. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media. I'm on all the platforms, and I post quite a lot so that you guys can keep up with everything L-word related in between my videos. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and thank you just to everyone who's been coming to the lives, been watching the videos. You guys know how much it means to me. So make sure that you are staying safe, taking care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!